Yeah, but if we're being honest here, who really cares about Semi 2? Vibe have already qualified for the final. This is the greatest Eurovision ever. Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on the ESC Harry channel. I hope you're all doing very well indeed. Today, I will be giving you my review of the semi-final 2 jury show for Eurovision 2025. I hope you're all doing well ahead of tonight's semi-final 2. I hope you've all mentally recovered from the shocking results that happened in semi-final 1. If you'd like to see my reaction to those results, click the link. Oh, I've forgotten. Because I'm in a different room, I forgot which side it is. I want to say here. I could be completely wrong on that. Oh, it's here. It's one of the two. You know the drill, guys. But yes, of course, tonight 16 songs will be competing for those final 10 slots in the final, and I will be giving you my thoughts after seeing the jury show last night through my online press accreditation, some thoughts on the staging, and who I think will qualify from this semi-final. Now, before this video, I have a couple of disclaimers. Number one, like semi-final 1, just because I like a staging does not mean I think it will necessarily qualify, and vice versa. Number 2, obviously, like with semi-final 1, I'll be going through the automatic qualifiers as well, which were the United Kingdom, France, and Germany. And number 3, and this one's genuinely really annoying, for whatever reason, my internet for last night was terrible for a decent period of the show. Like, I'd say the first half, it was incredibly laggy and it was basically a load of still images for some of the performances. So for the first half in particular, my notes might be quite brief and I did not get the full picture of the staging. I have gone back actually and watched the second rehearsal clips for a lot of the first half, which I hadn't done previously. So I will say, yeah, for the second half, it did improve. Like, I do have a good aspect and like the show flew fairly fine for that side, but second half, take my comments with a little bit of a pinch of salt. I will give you my best analysis of every performance from what I saw, but yeah, it was not a perfect viewing experience, put it that way. But with all that being said, before we get on to the review, make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you're new to ESC Harry, and comment down below, who do you think is qualifying tonight from semi-final 2? And who are some of your general favourites, of course. With that being said, let's get to reviewing. So like with semi-final 1, I will be going in running order for my review. So up first, opening the show, was Australia. Now, full disclosure, we barely saw any of this, mainly because I was refreshing my stream to try and get the internet better because it had completely froze. So I maybe saw like the last minute of this. Genuinely really sorry, Australia fans. Yeah, I would go to maybe some more other reviews if you want more in-depth analysis on Australia. But what I can say from what I saw, and also looking at the rehearsal clip, which thankfully was a different section of the song, this is a bright, colourful performance that will definitely stand out. I think the milkshake maker in the background is a very nice touch and a very good prop. And I will say, from what I saw, and again, was not much, it does seem the performance has been made family-friendly enough for people who don't necessarily get the innuendos, aka kids. They can watch that without knowing the innuendos that much and still have a very fun time. Another fact about this performance, Gojo does go through at least 3 outfits. He has like a sailor, like milkman outfit initially. Then he goes to just some sparkly blue. And then, I suppose this might not technically be an outfit reveal, he takes his top off. So maybe that last one isn't an outfit reveal, but like it's something different. And yeah, all of it bright, colourful, a very energetic opener from what I saw. And yeah, overall, this seems like it's going to be really good for Australia. I have very little worries about this performance. Up next, we go to Song 2, the returning Montenegro. And I'll be honest, the main first note I had on this was comically big outfit. Like, Nina Zizic is wearing like a bed sheet behind her practically for most of the performance. And it's like, did it need to be that big? And also like after Vladana in 2022, what's it with Montenegro and like circular outfits behind him? Like, that didn't work. Like, it's not a trend that works in Eurovision, Montenegro. I don't know why you've gone for that back-to-back years that you've taken part. The actual performance is fairly simple. There's some nods back to the national final performance with the people walking in the background near the end. It doesn't have any of the text with the lyrics in the background. Actually, I say that. From what I saw at the end, it didn't have the text with the lyrics in the background. It might do. I don't remember seeing it off the top of my head. But yeah, this mainly is a simple performance that has some lovely lighting. It's themed around white lighting in particular. And Nina Zizic does sing this very well. I just question whether it's enough to make it stand out and memorable near the end of the show. Yeah, I have questions whether it's going to qualify. Even though I thoroughly enjoy the song, I think it is a solid enough staging. It's just not necessarily a standout one. Up next, we have Ireland with Emmy and Like a Party. Now, full disclosure, this is one very much in particular, which was very static and basically stills. There was some brief moments of like movements that I saw for like 5-second periods, but yeah, I'm very much going off pictures that I saw and the clip I saw in the second rehearsal. But from what I saw, I think the theming is very solid and cohesive with the space lighting. I do like Emmy's outfit as well. The dancers perform it quite nicely. They still have the blue and pink dancers for bum bum ba-da-dum bum 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 ba-da-dum bum 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 bum, like, you know that section. And it also has, at least at one point, it might have it more. I definitely saw it at least once, a constellation of Laika the dog behind them. That being said, and again, I did not see it as maybe it was intended to, but I even got this from the second rehearsal clip. It does feel a little bit static and low on energy. And yes, I know the irony of me saying I only saw pictures for this and feeling static. Yes, maybe it was that, but I know Emmy's not a natural dancer, but her standing on a like elevated platform for the entire performance, which she does, I don't know, it just doesn't necessarily work for me, and it feels a bit too stationary. Like picture Lazara in 2023, it was very stationary. And so yeah, while there's elements of this I like, I don't know if it stands out enough to see Ireland in the final. Up next we have Latvia, and this is another one I really wish I was able to see more flowing without buffering internet, because this feels like one which, when I see it tonight in the Eurovision Village for semi-final 2, if you're on the Eurovision Village, come say hi. I would very much appreciate it, and it'll be lovely to see you guys. But plug aside, there's a lot of elements here which feel elevated from the national final performance, but they are done better and just on a grander scale, as you can imagine, with it being on the Eurovision stage. The outfits are a lot more slimmer, as you might have seen, very much bodysuits more than dresses. Whether that is for practicality or just for visual effects, I'm not sure at this point. At one point, they seem to either have a long braid, like AKA Czechia 2023, or they have tails, which is a very interesting, striking imagery at various points during the performance. And overall, this does have an improved lighting scheme from Supernova. And for definite, I will say that this is a performance that will stand out and people won't forget. My only hesitancy is this a performance that enough people will resonate with and get? We've seen with these out there ethnic performances that sometimes they just do not click. If you look at the likes of Ulverham, if you look at the likes of AR, you look at the likes of Fuen, like, I think the staging is really good, put it that way, and potentially even if I was to grade like who I think should be in the final, Latvia would be there. Whether enough people will vote for it and understand it to get them in the final, I just don't know. But they've given themselves a damn good chance of making it from what I've seen. Up next, we have one of my personal favorites, even though it's not necessarily a favorite in the community. This is Armenia with Parg and Survivor. As I mentioned in my Norway review in semi-final 1, it seems Parg has lost the battle for the armor-like outfit. Instead, he is the second performer tonight to at one point be topless. Instead, he's topless throughout the entire performance. And the key theme there is treadmills, because he performs a lot of the song on a treadmill with some great choreography. To clarify, he's not just running throughout the entire performance. He's not getting his steps in, although, I mean, he is, but he's not just doing like a 5K on the treadmill, put it that way. And it is very complex, visually pleasing choreography, I have to say. I think a lot of it works. I think his vocals, from what I heard, have improved. There was one thing that, despite the buffer I did hear a decent amount of the vocals still. And yeah, it has some nice lighting effects as well. It does have a filter. I don't know how to describe it. It's like a harsh light, like it like focuses on certain parts of his body. You'll see what I mean when you see it tonight. The concern I have there is it performs right before Austria, who also has a filter. It is a different filter, but it might create a subtle link of like, one is better than the other. And I do feel, spoiler for later, Austria will get more votes than Armenia. I don't think that's a hot take by any means. So yeah, overall, from what I saw, I actually quite enjoyed it. And I can't wait to see this full and in flowing motion later for semi-final 2 live. However, I don't know, it's just a gut feeling which has me concerned for this for various factors. I picture this and I'm like, I'm not sure. And I really, really want Armenia to qualify. Like, it's one of my favorite songs the entire year. Like, if I'm wrong about this and actually Armenia do qualify, like, please be correct. I have concerns, but I really hope Armenia does get it because there's a lot of elements of this staging that I actually quite enjoy. Up next, we alluded to this act earlier, and it is one of the favorites of the semi-final and Eurovision in general. It is Austria with JJ and Wasted Love. Again, another one I really wish I was able to see more in full. Obviously, I did get some elements of the theming, the black and white nature, and the fact he's in a boat for, I believe, the whole performance. It does get revealed a bit way through the performance. It's not obvious initially. There is some elements here which I do think will just click when I see this in full, not buffering. I love the end though still where it's a drop down shot and he's swirling down into this, the water's collapsing in. There's a word for it, but I have forgotten it. I'm deeply sorry. It's, you know, like a whirlwind of a pool. You know what I mean? Like, it's better just you see it. Like my words will not do it justice, put it that way. So yeah, overall, this is definitely a safe qualifier, and I don't think I can comment on whether it will win or not, just because I did not see this well enough to know, but it seems very good. It seems the better of the two Sergio high-end stages this year. This one actually links to the theme and is, I think, executed a little bit better. So this does get a thumbs up for me from the staging, but if it does sound like I'm a little bit like negative or like neutral on it, it's purely because it was buffering throughout the entire 3 minutes, put it that way. Up next, we have the first of the automatic qualifiers in my country, the United Kingdom. Fun fact, I can't actually take this flag into the village or anything like that with me. It's too big. It's too big. I do have another flag which I will be taking into the village and various things like that, which you will see in a sec. I'm going to sound like a broken record here, and I promise after this song I have more notes on these stagings. This one was the worst for lag and buffer. Like, it was literally just still images, which is annoying for this one in particular, because I feel like this one, for me to properly analyze it, relies on me knowing the movements and the energy of the performance of Remember Monday. The vocals seem solid enough. Like, they're good vocals. You'd expect that. They can sing very well. They are Broadway performers. There is no LED in this performance. It's just the main prop is a chandelier. They also start in like a bedding setting, a bedding wardrobe mirror, if you could visualize that, like somewhere where girls would get ready to do their makeup. And again, it's a word that eludes me, but you'll know what I mean when you see it later. The vibe I got from the still images that I got basically was, it's fun, but I don't know whether there's something missing. I wasn't wowed by our staging. I still have a little bit of concern from what I saw, but hopefully when I see, you know, it not lagging later today, it will come together more. But I don't know, put it that way. I'm a bit hesitant on this, but I appreciate I can't really give too much comment to what I saw last night because it was literally pretty much nothing. Okay, in the journey of lag, this is where my internet started to pick up a little bit and I was able to see a little bit more of the performances, which was just in time for Greece with Claudia and Astello Marta. Now, there's been a lot of discourse about Greece's staging from the press, obviously, especially comparing it to her national final performance and whether it is an upgrade on that. I will say, for what I saw, it is. I do actually quite like this staging. There's just an element of it that I really enjoy. I think the visuals are very good and diverse, still telling the story. At one point, Claudia is on a rock. Well, she's on a rock for most of it, and just the world below her starts to crumble and disperse. There is a very tasteful outfit reveal done at the end, which you do not really think is going to happen or notice until the end of the performance. So it's done very well. It's like she turns from the black of her dress into the light of white, like very subtle storytelling. And overall, as I mentioned, the visuals and the storytelling, I think is very solid. It's very good. Here, I know maybe I'm a little bit biased because I do really like the song and do want it to qualify, but I didn't really see many issues with it. And also she does have a backing dancer at one point that plays along with the storytelling, her calling out to her seemingly. Yeah, it's maybe not the most succinct review because again, it was still a little bit laggy, but I was able to get some bits of it. And what I saw was quite good. And the vocals were, as you can imagine, for MacLeod, really good. So yeah, I have more positive things on Greece than negative. And rounding off the first half of this semi-final is Lithuania, Katarsis, and Tavo Arkis. This is the flag I'm going to be taking in with the Eurovision Village because, of course, for those that know me, it is my winner this year, Katarsis with Tavo Arkis. Now, a lot of elements of the theming and the staging are very similar to the national final performance, which, I mean, I really loved, so no notes and complaints from me on that. But definitely it does have a sense of elevation from that national final performance. There is seemingly an increased energy that goes throughout the performance. They use wind machines in this. I think if they used it in national final, it wasn't obvious. They use it a lot better in this performance. There is also an amazing shot of the zoom in. I think it's on the second rehearsal clip, so you can see it from there as well. Like an amazing shot of a zoom in on his face that just goes right to his eyes, his intense stare. He performs this, the lead singer, very, very well, as you can imagine. If you saw his performance in the national final, it's basically that, and it's really good. And the LED, just like it did in the national final, does some amazing storytelling with the world just falling and separating apart, the misery, the despair. It is all on stage, and it's just, yeah, visually spectacular, energy increasing throughout, and the vocals, yeah, really good. Like, I don't have the most succinct notes on this, but I was very happy with this as a fan of Lithuania, and for the love of God, it better qualify. I will be rioting if Lithuania does not qualify. Now, thankfully, from this point onwards, my internet did improve and I was able to see the performances fairly clearly. So hopefully my analysis will improve. And it did it just in time for Malta. Now, as many of you know, I'm not a fan of this song. I've made that quite clear throughout this season. However, I will start with a positive for the staging. The staging is way more cohesive from a theming and color scheme perspective than it is in the MESC performance. Like, they've ditched pretty much all the Sound of Music references, and well, of course they did, the lyrics gone, which justified those Sound of Music references being in there. So a lot of that has gone, and it does feel theming and visually very more cohesive. So a thumbs up there. Overall, this performance is a lot. It is very camp, and yeah, this is visually quite intense at one point to take in, not from perspective of like creepy or eerie, just like there's a lot to take in, especially in the opening and final LEDs. Also, her outfit, she is at one point just a queen bee. There is, of course, an outfit reveal. It's Mariana Conte, and she starts the performance in like a mouth with a disco ball inside. Some of you would have seen the images of that from the rehearsals. That's not necessarily a massive spoiler. And as you can imagine, it finishes on the yoga balls at the end. That being said, I know I've described a lot of things there, but a lot of that is from the first 30 seconds and the final 30 seconds. Genuinely, and yes, I might be biased because I don't like the song, I didn't think the staging was that good overall. Like, there just seemed like a lull in the middle, which was just there. It was fine. Like, the press poll was not particularly good for this song. Like, it didn't wow many people, I have to say. And the audience poll was a bit better, but maybe there's just something about being in the live arena which gravitates towards people more. I do see enough people overall voting for this and getting it into the final. But by no means, as I've said before, I do not see this doing nearly as well as people anticipate. I think there are performances done way better in the semi-final, even within its own genre. We will come on to those later on. So yeah, if you like Mariana's wackiness and campness, that you'll find something to enjoy in this performance. But yeah, even as someone that hates the song, I was looking to hopefully like this a little bit more. And yeah, it's just, something feels off for me. It doesn't quite work. Oh, and for those wondering, you can't actually hear the audience say the forbidden words. Like, Either they muted the audience, the EBU, or just people don't know the link, which is a shame because that was definitely going to be one of the main selling points for this song. Coming up next, we have Georgia, and no, I don't mean my girlfriend. She's not going to reveal herself. I wish she did that. You sure you're not there? No. I do miss her this week, I have to say. But yeah, to be honest, this performance had a lot more than I was anticipating. I fully expected Miriam to just be in like a red dress standing on stage with very little, just, yeah, pretty much by herself with just some LEDs. It is more than that, to be fair, but it's not amazing still. There is some Georgian dancers in there which do add to the theming, and Miriam sings it very well. There is an outfit reveal, as you might have seen. She, unlike the one for Greece, this one you can tell is coming. Like, she wears a massive trench coat for like the first half of the performance, and her outfit reveal, she even does herself. It's not really just, she takes off the coat, and she has like this red striped top and red bottoms. Like, I'll be honest, she looks a little bit like a fig roll, if anyone's seen those. So yeah, there's some elements here which are nice and decent storytelling, but overall I did find this performance still quite boring, and I do not see a world where this qualifies. Up next, we have the second of our automatic qualifiers in France, and clearly Luan is someone that really enjoyed Denmark's song last year because a lot of sand. Sand! Sand! That was a decent song. I wouldn't have minded that in the final last year. A lot of it is where Luan is standing in a circular platform with just some sand below her and a stream of sand dropping down. She still doesn't have her outfit that is going to be for the final. She did say that she was going to wear a different outfit to what we've seen in the rehearsal clips and tonight. Potentially she might wear a different one tonight and she's just saving it from the jury show. I don't know, but she could also be just saving it for the final shows themselves. There is a lot of cool imagery and storytelling in this performance. At one point, she removes the sand to reveal a mirror of herself, almost like her becoming the mother, like looking at the reflection of her. And also at the end, there is a lovely sand effect going, like whooshing like this with my hands. Like it looks way cooler than my hands are making it out to be, but I'm trying to like describe it, and it's this. It's not me just trying to clap my hands and failing. It's like, it's not me doing this. But I will say, despite those cool effects on top of really good vocals and the fact that I do really enjoy this performance overall, in terms of the winner potential, I have hesitancy just from the perspective of it feels like the first 2 minutes, not a lot happens or not enough happens. Like she walks around the sand twice. Like, I don't know. I just have hesitancy when looking at it from that perspective. But overall, this is still really good. If you like this song, you will like this staging. And I do hope maybe I'm slightly wrong on this because I do like France, and if it was to win, I'd be very happy. But I have a little pause just because of how much happens in the first like 2 minutes. Going back to the semi-finalists, up next we have Denmark with the queen herself, Sissao. Now, obviously, I might be a little bit biased here because this is the one artist I have interviewed for my personal channel, and I think Sissao is absolutely amazing. But I will say for certainty that this is an upgrade on the Dance Melody Grand Prix staging. I have to say I really enjoy the lighting and the LEDs. They have a great focus on the hallucinating aspects. They're very fast-paced. The LED is very much like lines, which doesn't sound very cool, but it does really work in the staging, like curvy lines. I'm doing a lot of hand actions. I don't know whether that's useful for you guys or not. And she starts in like a container of curtains, I think is a way to describe it. And then it breaks out near the end. More dancers. There's a lot more here to enjoy, I think. I will say from the vocals last night, Sissao still might be ill. I could be completely wrong there. I don't want to say for certain that she is. It's just I have heard her hit the notes a little bit better, and obviously she was ill for the second rehearsal. Earlier in the Eurovision, I was about to say week, but I think she performed last week. But yeah, she still might be a tad ill. She's definitely improved, and the high note at the end is fantastic still. And she still sings overall amazingly, despite potentially being ill. Overall, though, really cool theme for this. I actually really enjoyed Denmark. There is still part of my brain which envisions it and just has concern for its qualification chances. But if it was up to me, definitely this would be in the final. I think I just really want Denmark and Sissao to be in the final. So I just have a bit of nervous, like, concern, put it that way. Up next, we have Czechia with Adonis and Kiss Kiss Goodbye. I really like the start of this, where it's like a close-up on his eyes. It really draws you in to the performance. And overall, there is some nice subtle storytelling with the common color scheme of white. White is throughout this performance, especially with his outfit. So initially, he has like a coat on which is predominantly white, but has streaks of black on them. I like to think that is, you know, there's still the demons still in him from a traumatic breakup or from his father leaving him, like whatever, however you interpret the story or how Adonis interprets the story. And the white represents the clean slate he wants to feel after the goodbye, which he almost achieves. And halfway through the performance, he takes off his outfit, partly for the dance break, I have to admit, but also it's like it's fully white then, his outfit from then point on. So it feels like he's achieved that clean slate. So if that is intentional storytelling, fair play, I think it works very well. However, for me, the dance break still feels forced. It doesn't work in the song. It's well executed, I have to say, but it just doesn't work in the song, I find. Ironically enough, the parts where the backing dancers dance during the rest of the song, more contemporary style dance, I think that works quite nicely. It's just that dance break in particular does not work for me. And overall, I'm being quite positive on the performance, but there's something about it which makes me question whether it would be memorable. Like, I just don't know, to be honest. I get serious musty vibes from Before the Party's Over with a decent enough staging, but just not enough hooks and memorable moments to make it stand out. So I'll be honest, Czechia I have a little bit of concern by from the staging, despite me overall liking it. So it's one of those weird juxtapositions. It's just, I see it and I'm just like, I'm not entirely sure. Up next, we have Luxembourg with Laura Thorne and La Poupée Mort Le Son. This is definitely how you elevate a national final performance. This, I think, just is the national final performance, but just a lot better. I really like the start where she's lying down on the floor and she looks like she is in a doll's house with an arm coming in to potentially try and control her. That's very nice storytelling. And the key theme for why this is much better is the storytelling. I think the dance moves and the choreography really tell the story a lot better than it did in the Luxembourg national final. There is just those more subtle moments that, again, if you don't speak French, you know the story that she's trying to portray. The only main other differences from the national final performance that I was able to notice was during the outfit reveal. Shocker, those extra like 2-3 seconds were to make sure that her outfit was easier to get off. But also she's not in this like lingerie pink outfit. She's in a lovely silver sparkly dress, which I actually think works better. I always was like a bit weirded out by the lingerie. I was like, this feels just more for like sexual, like pleasing the fans. You know, the silver dress is still lovely and still works, but I think it works better in a song perspective and just from a tasteful aspect. So overall, this is definitely an upgrade, and I think its qualification chances have increased from this. I will say though, during the jury show, her like bit at the end where she thanks the audience, far too long. Like she goes on for like 15 seconds. Like, Laura, cut it down for tonight's show, please. I know there's a message about this song, but you need to cut it down, love. Up next, we have Malta's performance. Now, for those wondering, because I'd imagine a few of you are, you couldn't really hear boos during the song. There was someone who recorded the arena performance. You couldn't really hear them there either, so I don't know whether that was just small amounts or the EBU just cut it out. You could hear some heckles either from cheering or just like Free Palestine things, so bit of call and response. I think just the audience trying to like fight amongst themselves. They did a similar thing in 2024. In terms of the actual staging, to be honest, like genuinely there's not much to it. It's fairly simple staging with her vocals and just a big prop, like the bird's cage chandelier that you've seen in rehearsal. She does at one point walk up to it and it ends on there. Like genuinely, I'm not being succinct because of the country. Like there is not much to this staging. Like it has a sparkle curtain at the end as well. She sings it fairly well. She did have a small vocal slip up, so whether that happens tonight or not, I don't know. But yeah, it's if you like this song, I think you'll enjoy the staging, and there might be other reasons why people vote for this as well. It didn't do necessarily much for me though, regardless of the circumstances surrounding this country. Up next, we now have the final of the automatic qualifiers in Germany. Now, I have to say, before I get on to maybe the biggest talking point and concern going into the performance, I really do enjoy the theming. There's a lot of really cool themings in this semi-final in particular. The club theme, I think, works very well here. There's a point in the first chorus where she's backstage, in a sense, like the audience can't see her, and the backing dancers are shining lights on her, like small spotlights, like this. And that looks really cool. There's a lot of really cool visuals for this performance. The main problem I have for this is just when watching it, it just does not have the same energy as this studio track does. Tina's vocals are not bad by any means, like you can clearly tell she's healthy and had time to rest. The problem is they are just a bit quiet, and with a song like this, which has like not an obvious anthemic moment, I would say, these kind of quiet vocals just, it doesn't inspire energy into the performance. And I still really love the song. For those wondering, it does actually have an extra chorus at the end just to add a little bit more to this, which, you know, they can afford to do. I think the original track was like 2 minutes 20. So extra chorus, nice little touch there. But overall, I just have concerns for Germany still, just because despite me really enjoying the song, and this pops off at Euroclub, I have to say, the studio is way better than the live in terms of energy and impact. Up next, we have Serbia with Prince and Mila, and I'll be honest, for the first 2 minutes of this performance, my only notes were he was wearing a red suit, and it's fairly simple. Like, he sings this very well, and if you like the typical Balkan style, and you like typical stagings from, like, I'd say the late 2000s, early 2010s, you will enjoy this. I think there is nothing particularly wrong with it. It's just not particularly interesting if you don't like the song or a bit mid about the song like I am for the first couple minutes. However, for the final minute, there is some lovely drama, mainly through the lighting and the LEDs. At one point, and you would have seen this potentially in the second rehearsal, Prince does get dragged along the floor by his backing dancers. I put Prince the Hoover in my notes there. Must be a cousin to Henry, if anyone knows Henry the Hoover. But yeah, I think the final minute is where this performance shines. As you can imagine, that final section is where the crescendo of the song happens. And to be fair, despite me being overall negative on this, there is part of me that actually sees this qualifying. I just think that the simple nature of the staging linked to the simple nature of the Balkan ballad, if people like this style, then they're going to vote for this. And there is a decent amount of Balkan countries in this semi-final. So while I'm not crazy about it, I don't know, there's a gut feeling. I actually kind of see Serbia creeping into the final. Slight spoiler for my predictions later. But yeah, weirdly negative, but also positive about Serbia. And finally, closing out the semi-final is, of course, Finland with Erika Vikman and Ik Komme. Now, this one very much is an elevation of the national final performance from UMK, but I feel like this one is actually done a little bit better, mainly because near the beginning, there is just more focus on Erika. Erika feels like she looks at the camera more than she did at UMK, and I just think that connection and focus on that in the staging makes it a lot better for me. Like, you get that personal connection. It's not, the camera's not working sort of around Erika. She's working, the camera doesn't have a gender necessarily. It's working with Erika in a sense. Like, I don't know if people will get that vibe. I've spoken to other people and they don't necessarily like get the link that I'm saying, but that's what I took away from this performance. And so maybe people will agree with me when they see it later on. Another element that I feel has helped elevate the staging is the lighting. It feels more impactful, and it does feel like there's a little bit more moments that happen in this performance due to lighting that weren't there at UMK. And of course, her riding the microphone at the end, iconic. We all know that section. And yeah, Finland, this is really, really good. I know I'm being succinct, but I think similar to Kai in semi-final 1, it's just, you know, the UMK performance and you know it's really good. So expect that tonight for semi-final 2. So there were my thoughts on the songs competing tonight in semi-final 2 and of course the automatic qualifiers. So now it is time for me to give my prediction for the 10 qualifiers. And let me tell you, this is an effing tough semi-final. Like, really, if you thought semi-final 1 had shockers, like, I think this could potentially have more. Like, I'm really struggling to narrow down my 10. I've done it in the end. So here we go. My 10 predicted qualifiers from most likely to least likely. There is actually some change to the 10 from my initial semi-final 2 prediction video. So slight spoilers here, but here we go. Most likely to qualify, I think, is still Finland. Second most likely, Israel. Third, I have Austria. Fourth, I've got Australia. Fifth, I've got Lithuania. Sixth, I have Greece. Seventh, I have Malta. Now, this is where it actually gets interesting and a little bit different from my previous prediction. In eighth, I have Luxembourg. Again, really hard. There's like loads of countries that could qualify here. 9th, I have Serbia. And 10th, most likely, I still have her sneaking in. I have Queen Sissel herself. I have Denmark. So for those wondering, the changes I have from my previous video, I have Serbia and Luxembourg in, and I have Armenia and Czechia out. Czechia, I know, is an unpopular one to say that won't qualify because it's dropped down from like 5th most likely for me. But there's just something about the performance. And oh, trust me, I want to be wrong about Armenia. I really want to be wrong. If Armenia qualified tonight, you will get similar screams to when Iceland qualified. That is just more gut feeling. Like the final, there's like 5, 6 songs that I need to fit into like 3 spots. It's really hard. Latvia as well, my word. That's increased its chances of qualifying. Absolutely. It's just, I'm not sure whether enough people will get it. Again, easily could be wrong. I'm fairly confident on my first 6, 7, I would say. But the final 3 slots, like, I have very little idea. Like, these are throwing darts at the wall. This took ages for me to narrow down. If I'm wrong about those, fair enough completely. But anyway, that is my thoughts and predictions on semi-final 2. But remember, my thoughts and predictions are not the correct ones. They are just my thoughts and predictions. Let me know down in the comments below, who are your favourites from semi-final 2 and who do you want to see qualify for the final on Saturday? Once again, make sure to like this video if you enjoy it and subscribe if you're new to EC Harry so you do not miss any of the last remaining Eurovision 2025 content. Like with semi-final 1, I will be recording my live reactions to the semi-final 2 qualifiers in the Eurovision Village, so make sure you look out for that later after semi-final 2 concludes. All that's left me to say is I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time for another video on this channel. Take care, guys.